to this live stream. Today we are indeed talking about the Brazil against Serbia match. Of course, this is probably going to come out as a video later on when you are already watching it. But we're going to be talking about the 2 goals for Richarlison. Phenomenal goals to put Brazil ahead. I think that they required those 2 goals to really get them in the rhythm. They started off quite slowly. But, of course, as time went on, they actually started getting more into the game. Of course, you had the individual flares from Neymar, Vinicius Jr., Rafinha on the side, but none of them were able to find the breakthrough until Richarlison's 2 goals. So those were really, really good performances from the Brazilian up front. I mean, everyone's talking about this is Neymar's tournament for Brazil. This is Vinicius Jr.'s time to shine. But Richarlison is someone that you often slept on. In fact, I was sleeping on him, I suppose. When I looked at the lineup, I was thinking, what is Richarlison doing up there? Why don't they play Neymar up front or some other more talented players? Or maybe just put, maybe not Neymar up front, but Gabriel Jesus on form and stuff like that. But Richarlison proved why he is there, why he is the Brazilian at number 9. So that was a really good performance. They played a 4-2-3-1 from Brazil. We're going to talk a bit about the line, not the format, the formations, and then we're going to talk a bit about more individual performances. Formation 4-2-3-1 from Brazil, but let's be honest, when they were in possession, they almost morphed into a 4-2-4 with Vinicius Jr., Neymar, Richarlison, and Rafinha up front. Neymar had that free roll in to 10. And of course, when you have a Casemiro behind you, and later on when they brought on Fred, you do have that defensive covering in front of course, evergreen Thiago Silva and Marquinhos. Danilo and Alexandro, I don't think they merited the 8.4 rating and 7.6 respectively, but I do think that they played decent. It was a decent game. Is a decent performance. And well, in goal, Alison, I think he had an interesting game. I think his handling was a bit off. Personally, in my opinion, let me know your thoughts in the comments below or in the live chat below. But I do think Alison had a few moments where it was a bit dicey, but at the same time, I think he did a decent job. It is a clean sheet. It is a clean sheet, and you can never complain about that. So, well, I think that 4-2-3-1 was a good choice from the manager. I think Paqueta was perhaps could have been a bit more of a defensive player, put Fred there instead. I'm not sure to start the game, but I do think it was a decent way to start off. Up front, you had, of course, Vinicius Jr., who I think did not have the best game. His finishing was a bit off, in my opinion. And then you had Neymar in the 10 role, and of course, Rafinha coming off the right. I think he did all right, Rafinha, with creating chances, but I think he could have buried the chance that he had and could have scored that. Richarlison up front, of course, phenomenal player. He did really well to put in those 2 goals. I think right after he scored those 2 goals, Brazil really opened up the game, and it really allowed them to play with a bit more freedom, allowing them to play to their strengths. You had Vinicius Jr. getting into more space, and then after that, of course, you had Gabriel Martinelli come on. You had a few other players come on, and they really started lighting up the game, and it is really looking good for Brazil. Now, on the other hand, on Serbia, they started off with 3 at the back. Pavlovic, I cannot pronounce this other guy's name, and Milenkovic. I did like Milenkovic in Football Manager, I have to admit. If you want me to play a bit more Football Manager on this channel, let me know in the comments below. In front of them, they had I don't know how to pronounce all of these names, but they played basically a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1, whatever you want to call that, or box midfield. I think they started off defending pretty well. I think their defense in the first half was quite good to shut down a lot of the chances that the Brazilians had. However, as time went on, after the goal scored in, it opened up more space, and then, of course, Brazil pounced and took control of the game. Mitrovic up front, I was surprised he didn't play Vlahovic earlier. I suppose it does kind of show perhaps a mindset that they have about Mitrovic being the top goal scorer, and they want to, as a result, respect that instead of having Vlahovic up there. Maybe we'll see a front 2 of Vlahovic and Mitrovic at the same time. I'm not sure. I haven't followed up on the injury news too much, honestly, from that up front. On the bench, of course, I have Luka Jovic as well, and a few other players. So, of course, they did have quite a strong firepower on the squad on the bench, but they didn't really bring them on until later on in the game. And as a result, you could say that perhaps a lot of the times, you could say that, well, in reality, actually, it is quite a difficult situation for them to bring them off the bench earlier, just because, well, they actually do have quite a lot of talent there. But at the same time, they want to respect Mitrovic. They want to have Dusan Tadic on the pitch as long as possible. And hopefully that Sergej Milenkovic-Savic can do something. I don't think they played too much of a game. Of course, you have that creativity from them, and they can perform. They can present an option for you to go forward. They can present a goal-scoring threat. But I do think that they were unfortunately a bit lacking up front. And as I said, this match was really a one-man show for Richarlison, and the Brazil defense played very, very well, I think. Especially Thiago Silva and Marquinhos. They had a very good pairing, and I expect them to stay in the squad throughout the World Cup. I suppose Eder Militao might come in for later games as well, just to give Thiago Silva a rest. After all, he is indeed 38 years old. You can play him a lot. He's really good. But at the same time, he is getting older, and you do want to have that kind of ability to do some how do you call it, squad rotation. I think that you have people like Eder Militao on the bench, people like Bremer on the bench. Those are really, really good defenders who can come on and put in a shift, maybe drop to a back five, back three, that those things can definitely work. Now, let's talk a bit more about the target man himself, the man of the hour, Richarlison. I mean, we've all been thinking this is Neymar's tournament, as I said, but Richarlison put in a phenomenal goal. 2 goals actually. The first goal was phenomenal. The second one was even greater. That bicycle kick was insane. It was really, really great. So I highly recommend you to go check that goal out if you haven't watched it yet. I think it really goes to show the need to have someone who can finish balls. You have the Rafinha on the side. You have Vinicius Jr. who can create those angles, create those spaces by their dribbling, by their flair. You have Anthony as well, who can do that very well. But you do want someone up front who can put those goals away. And yes, Richarlison isn't the classic target man number 9, as you see with Olivier Giroud for France, who as I said, does look like he's going to have a phenomenal tournament as well. However, Richarlison with those 2 goals does show that he probably will be starting up front for the foreseeable future. I highly doubt Jesus would come in and take his spot. Maybe he'll come in on the left wing or the right wing. But that's my thoughts about the game. Like always, stay safe, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments about the game's thoughts about it, then let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you soon. Stay safe, my friends, and I'll see you next one. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.